Return. I'm gonna keep on returning to RT. I mean, how many trips have I taken out here? This is like number 3?
Number three.
All right. All right, so back here at RT Aviation in the small town of Tylertown,
Mississippi.
We've gone through like 2 other aircraft. This is the 3rd one here that they're offering, and it's another amazing aircraft. I thought looking at it was a 172, to be honest, but it's actually a scaled down
182.
182.
Yeah, it's an 80% scale down of a 182.
So let's dive into this. Introduce yourself real quick and what you do at RT Aviation.
Yep, so I'm Robert Harris. I'm one of the co-owners of RT Aviation, and I'm one of our LSRMs. And I manage the assembly site here in Tylertown, Mississippi.
So as far as the company goes, this is the first aircraft that you all decided to import, and has been around the longest, if you will, in the United States.
Yeah, we've got about 20 of these that are flying in the United States right now. It kind of varies on, as we import. But this brand, actually, we picked up this distributorship. Somebody else had it for a couple of years, and then we actually bought one of these, and there wasn't U.S. representation. And it was a great product. We fell in love with it, and we ended up calling up and figuring out how to become a distributor because we believed in the brand so much. We became a dealer, flew over to the Czech Republic, met with them, fell in love with the company, fell in love with their manufacturing and their quality, and the rest is history now. And now here we are, the dealers of Aeropilot USA.
Awesome. Let's do a little bit of a walk and talk around the aircraft and see a little more of the details of it and what the mission and the purpose for it is. So yeah, as I mentioned, to me, it's a very familiar looking aircraft because it does resemble a Cessna.
It does.
I'm sure that's the designers were kind of going for, but it's a little squattier, but it's also a little fatter. What's different about it?
So number one, it's an Aeropilot instead of a Cessna, but it's modeled after the 182. It actually has a larger cabin than a 182 by a few inches. And the thing that the designers was going after was a really fun airplane to fly, a real reliable aircraft, but they wanted to highlight the fact that, we've all learned in a 172, we've all learned in a 150, and that is just a familiar platform, so they were kind of going for that kind of vibe. But this is the most amazing trainer that you could probably get into. It's an extremely docile aircraft, it's extremely forgiving aircraft, and for the fuel economy alone in a flight school, this pays for itself just by the savings from going from a 172 traditional aircraft, sipping on 3.5 to 4 gallons an hour with a Rotex 912 IS engine. It really does pay for itself in just fuel savings right there alone.
Now the other difference, of course, this is a 2-seater, not a 4-seater, but what does it look like as far as performance with has the cabin room, but only 2 seats. What are you like climbing out at and so forth?
So climbing out, you're climbing out about 1,500 feet per minute.
That's a lot better than 500 in a 150.
Absolutely. It's got a heck of a climb performance. As far as the speed, it's around 120, 115 to 120 knots, depending on how you have your prop pitched. But the aircraft performs that in basically what we call mid to high cruise, which is, again, sipping on 3.5 to 4 gallons an hour.
Okay, and I see, again, the Duke. Yeah, it's popular in so many European aircraft, and you're utilizing that here as well.
Yeah, so you can get it with the Duke prop. You can get it with a Ascensionist prop. There's a couple different props that they have available, but Duke is by far the most popular one that we import them in on.
And this is a standard as the ULS or the IS or either or?
We bring it in on the IS. They do offer it in the ULS. That's their base model. They do offer it in the Rotex 914, and it is also authorized for the Rotex 916.
Nice. Now going into the construction of this, this is not metal, it is what?
This is a 100% full carbon fiber aircraft. It has a great useful load of about 590 to 600 pounds. It's great for two people and about as much luggage you can put in the back.
And what is the luggage capacity on this?
It just depends on the model and how many options you kind of throw in it, but 60, 70 pounds is pretty standard.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Now, being it's all composite, the wings are solid carbon fiber as well, or is there a wooden spar? What's the makeup of that?
No, this is a full carbon fiber aircraft from tip to tail.
Okay.
Everything.
Including the spring gear?
Yes, including the spring gear. The actual spring gear are not actually carbon fiber, they are actually fiberglass, but they're a honeycomb weave with basically 2 hollow channels in the sides of them for rigidity. So they give them an enormous amount of flex, but also that rigidity for strength.
Okay. And as far as the door, does the door go out a full 90, or how much room do you have to get in and out of it?
You have plenty of room to get out, full 90 degrees.
Okay.
It has a shock absorber that is installed on it to allow you to actually, for it not to flop in the wind. It kind of keeps it from going any further than that. But as you can see, extremely easy to get in and out of. You have plenty of room for ingress and egress.
And you don't have to slide the seat extremely far back
No.
or forward like in a Cessna.
No, you don't. The seat is fully adjustable. So you can pull it all the way up, or you can go all the way back. It's full back. So if you did have a full back, I mean, you have tons of room for headroom.
Okay, so would you say, I mean, obviously an airplane can be used for many missions, but
Right.
this is kind of positioned well to be a flight trainer.
Well, it's positioned to be a flight trainer. That's what we personally love it for. We actually operate a small fleet of these in our own flight school. And then we've sold a couple to other flight schools that are operating. They're holding up extremely well. They're really enjoying the versatility of them, the ease of operations, and the cost of operations. Because we have a really great relationship with the manufacturer, parts are extremely available. They use the standardized Rotex 912 engine, which is just bomb-proof. It's just an amazing engine that's been out there for tried and true and tested. So it works extremely well. The other thing is these are fully customizable. We can sell this in a VFR model, or we can go all the way up to a TAA rated and IFR model, still under the factory LSA, used for training only. It's not licensed to fly IFR conditions, but you can get it outfitted for that to be able to use it for IFR training.
Now, being that it is composite, and if this was in the flight school mode, if you will, you find most aircraft are parked outside. So I know that most composite aircraft are painted white because of sun and UV. Is there any issue with that with this aircraft, or is it still recommended to hangar a composite aircraft?
We would recommend that it's still hangared. It just keeps it, gives you a much longer useful lifespan. The lifespan of one of these aircraft so far has been tested all the way up to 8,000 hours. So it's got a huge lifespan that's built into the aircraft. But just like anything else, you're going to get more longevity out of it if you take care of it. So we like to have it. One of the flight schools that is operating this is flying it in Phoenix, Arizona, and you can't really get much more of a harsh environment than that, and it's holding up extremely well in there. So now, we've kind of touched on the flight schools. We do believe that that is an amazing opportunity for flight schools to take advantage of. Number one, why do you want to fly something around that's, built in the 1960s when you could be flying something that's brand spanking the new state-of-the-art, cut your operating costs? But, we just really don't want to lose sight of the recreational aspect too. Again, 8.5 to 9 hours of endurance on one of these. And like we were discussing before, your bladder really can't take that. So it just really is an extremely comfortable and versatile aircraft. If you live on a grass field, they operate quite well off of a grass field as long as it's well maintained. You have the power to get in and out of tricky situations with that type of climb rate. So you're not sitting at that 500 foot per minute just trying to get off the ground.
And as an option, I think you mentioned a couple of these have been on floats.
Yes, we do actually sell this on an amphibious model as well with retractable gear for float operations. So if you want to have something that's going to operate in a more amphibious, we can. They also can be outfitted with folding seats for ease of operations, putting luggage in. They have just tons of options. This company is extremely versatile and willing to make those modifications to make it kind of tailored to what your mission is. So if you're looking for something to have bigger wheels, they can do the bigger wheels. If you're looking for something that's going to have floats, they can add the bigger floats, or they can add floats. If you're looking for something that you want to come in flashy like this one is, they can have all leather interior, leather door panels, leather headliner, they can do that. Or you can bring it in to where it's just a float plane utilitarian that everything is plastic and you can spray it out with a hose and just go from there. It really is kind of the sky's the limit on what you want and what kind of options you want to pull.
Dynon Avionics at Dynon.com, offering everything from state-of-the-art glass cockpit options to advanced control modules that power and control your entire aircraft. Gratia Aero Group at GratiaAero.com, proudly representing these best-in-class brands for experimental general aviation. Sure Wings, BD Aviation, and MW Fly. KFA, Kitplanes for Africa, engineered for adventure and built for the bush is their motto, offering several STOL-kit aircraft options like the Expedition, Safari, Bush Baby, and Explorer. Find them online at kitplanesforafrica.co.za. Visit us online at experimentalaircraftchannel.com for all things DIY aviation. And consider supporting us on our Patreon page to help us bring you more original aviation content.
So that's just telling you what type of oil that the Rotex needs and how much quantity it needs.
Yeah, I got it. Here's the screwdriver.
Thank you.
All right, under the bonnet, as they say.
Yeah, under the bonnet. So this is a brand spanking new Rotex 912 ULS Sport engine. Again, every aircraft that we import goes through rigorous flight testing over in the Czech Republic before it's brought here to the United States. It has anywhere from 5 to 7 hours already put on it, so the engine is already proven, and they just do a really great job. You know, their whole motto over there is for everything to be quality and for it to, you know, be clean, and you can see that really in the installation of how they've done the engine. Everything is just taken. I mean, the electrician over there is just a master. He does a really great job with actually installing all the components. Well, everything with, you know, Light Sport is all about space, 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 weight, weight, weight. You know, so there's not a single square millimeter on this aircraft that has wasted space. Everything that can be utilized has been utilized. These aircraft can be brought in with Behringer brakes or with the standard brakes that they come with. They also do not have differential braking. They have a fully linkage nose wheel to the rudder. So there is a single lever braking system. Everything on the throttle quadrant, as I showed you before, it's a hand throttle and a hand brake. Theirs are a little different than ATEX, of course.
Let's talk about the fuel system for a moment.
Yeah, so the fuel system, because this is a high wing aircraft, it actually does have a header tank that is located below the rear deck of the luggage rack. And the reason for that is that, you know, you can't just have like the old 172 gravity fed, you know, wings. This runs at about 40 to 45 PSI, pounds per square inch of fuel pressure at all times. So you got to have that fuel flow and you have to have that fuel pressure. And how they accomplish that is there's a dedicated fuel pump that runs from the Rotex side that keeps that fuel moving at all times. And there's another dedicated pump that has got a float sensor on it that's a small boost pump that picks up a float inside that header tank that keeps that header tank continually filled with 3 gallons of fuel at all times. And that's where your main fuel supply is filling. So your wing tanks are filling up the header tank is supplying the fuel for the engine, and then it just flows back into the system and keeps it going.
So for the most part, it is a gravity-fed system to the header tank. If the header tank decides to drop below that, then you have a pump to bring it back up to that predetermined level.
Correct. And it's always pressurized, and it always has that 3 gallons in it. And if it doesn't, then you have that sensor that turns it on. You also have the ability to manually turn on the pumps if your sensor fails or something like that, and you see that, and there's a fuel gauge for that you see that your header tank's not filling up. You can actually manually turn on the pump and keep it going from there. So, a lot of safety features built in.
As far as electronics, we were just talking about the fuse block is already mounted in here in the cowling, but the actual ECU, the computer, is inside the cockpit for cooling purposes.
Correct. And again, I was discussing also the braking system on the Aeropilot. It does have a full linkage nose wheel that is tied to the rudder. So as you're taxiing around, you get that same feel that you would get from a 172 or 150 where, you know, you're not doing differential braking. So the braking is very similar to that. You can get upgraded brakes if you want Behringer brakes and you want really like heavy stopping power. You have those available as too. The only differential braking that we do actually offer is on the amphib because of the floats. You do have differential braking because you don't have a nose wheel to taxi around in on. So
does that allow you if you go to seaplane route, can you get a adjustable prop including to go into beta so you can marine taxi?
Well, there is some development being done right now for the Mosaic rule that is, you know, going on. We do have several of these that still will meet the current light sport rules with a float plane with the Rotex 916 engine. they just can't have that prop yet because it's not come into the to the rule. If you're going to fly this, you know, outside of light sport rules, things like that, then you could get that. But as of right now, nobody has offered that.
Okay, now we've talked specifics and mechanics on this thing. Let's talk about getting into it. What's the price points and deposits and stuff like that?
Yeah, so just like all of our others, 30% down is what we get you started on a production line. The lead time on these is about 11 to 12 to 13 months. It just kind of depends on what production slot you fall into. The price point for the base model, VFR, we can get you in about 170, 175. If you're wanting top end VFR only, we can get you in probably around 200,000. If you're wanting something like an IFR for training or something like in a flight school, something like that, it's probably gonna be around 230, 240, somewhere in that range. If you're wanting a float plane, again, VFR probably 260, IFR probably about 275. It just really depends on the options that you grab and what you do with that. These are fully customizable, so there is a ton of options that you can grab into it. There's several engines, like I said, all the way from the Rotex 912, 914, 915, 916 that are available with this aircraft. They have, you know, Dynon that they're allowed to put in them. They have Garmin that we go up to. You can get the 2-axis, 3-axis autopilots. You can customize it with leather seats, leather interior, all the way up to top end, or you can go all the way down the bottom end. It just really depends on what you're going to do. One of the new options that we just started selling on these is reclining folding seats. It just makes it really easy if you're wanting to, you know, throw your bags in the back or anything. You don't have to pull the seats all the way forward. Also, Behringer brakes, upgraded brakes. Yeah, we're constantly making improvements and constantly, you know, upgrading things.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for the tour on another aircraft that you offer here, and it's an amazing looking airplane, and I hope that you do well with it. Explain to people here who does what here at RT Aviation.
Yeah, so RTAviationLLC.com. I'm Robert Harris, and I'm the LSRM, and I help with sales and marketing as well.
Yeah, I'm Todd Livingston. I also do sales and marketing.
And I'm Ron Gavin, co-owner of RT Aviation, and I do sales, marketing, and financial.
We hope you have enjoyed learning about a new aircraft today. Thank you for watching, and consider joining our community on Patreon and maybe help support us there. Zach Newsom, Mike Babcock, and our patrons, thank you. See you next time.